Imagine a pill safe enough for pregnant women, gentle enough to be sold without a prescription, trusted enough that doctors handed it out like candy. 46 countries said yes. One woman said no, and that single word, no, saved tens of thousands of children from being born without arms, without legs, without limbs of any kind. This is the story of the most catastrophic drug ever approved. And the woman nobody taught you about in school? West Germany is rebuilding after the war. The pharmaceutical company Chemie Grünenthal is hungry, desperate to compete, desperate to win. Their scientists have synthesized a new compound. Thalidomide. In animal testing, it seems almost impossibly safe. They cannot find a lethal dose. They try it on rats. Nothing. They try higher doses. Still nothing. To Grünenthal, this looks like a miracle. They call it Contagion. And they tell the world it is the safest sedative ever created. Perfect for anxiety. Perfect for insomnia. Perfect, they say, for the nausea of morning sickness in pregnant women. Doctors across Europe begin prescribing it by the millions. In Germany alone, over 1 million patients take it in the first year. Nobody asks what happens to the baby. By 1959, something is wrong. Doctors in Germany start seeing babies born with flippers instead of arms, babies born with feet attached directly to their hips, babies born with no ears, sealed eyes, fused fingers. The medical term is phocomelia. From the Greek for seal limb, it was so rare before 1959 that most doctors had never seen a single case in their entire careers. Now they are seeing dozens, then hundreds. A German geneticist named Dr. Widukind Lenz starts investigating. He interviews mother after mother after mother. One question keeps leading him back to the same answer. What did you take during your first trimester? The answer, again and again and again, is Contagion. Thalidomide. In November 1961, Lenz calls Grünenthal directly. He tells them, "Your drug is destroying children." Their response? They ask him to keep quiet until they can verify. They are not concerned about the babies. They are concerned about the sales figures. Meanwhile, across the Atlantic, a pharmaceutical company called Richardson Merrill wants a piece of the miracle. They apply to the FDA to sell thalidomide in America. They are confident. The drug is already approved in 46 countries. This should be a formality. The application lands on the desk of a 37-year-old FDA medical reviewer. Her name is Frances Kelsey. She had been at the FDA for exactly 1 month. This was her very first assignment. Richardson Merrill expected a rubber stamp. What they got was Frances Kelsey. She reads the application. Then she reads it again. Something bothers her. The clinical data is thin. The trial methodology is weak. The company's own evidence doesn't actually prove the drug is safe for pregnant women. It just assumes it is. She sends it back. Asks for more data. Richardson Merrill pushes back. Hard, their executives write letters to her supervisors. They call her obstructionist, unreasonable. They use the word petty. They apply pressure, again and again, over 19 months. 19 months. Kelsey does not move. She keeps asking the same question they cannot answer. What does this drug do to the developing human fetus? They have no answer because they never looked. While she holds the line, the reports from Europe are getting worse. By 1961, the number of damaged children has crossed 10,000. 10,000. In Germany, in the UK, in Australia, in Canada, children who will spend their entire lives without limbs. Because a company never asked the question, Frances Kelsey refused to stop asking. November 1961, Dr. Lenz goes public. He publishes his findings linking thalidomide directly to the birth defects. Grünenthal pulls Contagion from German shelves 48 hours later, but the damage is irreversible. The drug had already been on the market for 4 years. It had already crossed placentas, already interrupted the 20 to 36 day window of fetal development, the exact window when limbs form. One pill. In some cases, a single pill taken on the wrong day of pregnancy was enough. The world is horrified. The press calls it the biggest medical catastrophe of the 20th century. And now every country turns to ask the same question. Did it reach America? The answer, because of Frances Kelsey, is no. America is almost entirely spared. Almost. 2.5 million thalidomide tablets had already been distributed across America as samples by doctors to pregnant patients without FDA approval. 17 American children were born with thalidomide-related defects. 17. Instead of tens of thousands. The difference between 17 and 10,000 was one woman who refused to say yes. In 1962, the year after the disaster broke, the United States passed the Kefauver-Harris Amendment. For the first time in history, pharmaceutical companies were legally required to prove a drug was effective, not just safe. Before it could be sold, they were required to report adverse events. They were required to conduct controlled clinical trials. Every single protection you have today when you take a medication, every informed consent form, every phase trial, every safety signal, every warning on every package traces its origin directly to this moment, to these children, to Frances Kelsey. President Kennedy gave her the President's Award for Distinguished Federal Civilian Service in 1962. She was the first woman to receive it. The citation said she had shown extraordinary judgment in refusing to approve a drug that had not been proved safe. Extraordinary judgment. The company called it petty. History called it heroic. Here is what nobody tells you. Thalidomide is still legal. It is still being used today to treat leprosy, to treat multiple myeloma, to treat certain cancers. The same molecule that destroyed 10,000 children under strict controlled conditions is saving lives right now. Medicine is never simply good or evil. It is always, always about who is asking the right questions and whether anyone has the courage to keep asking them. Frances Kelsey kept asking, and because she did, millions of children were born whole. Frances Kelsey continued working at the FDA until the age of 90. She retired in 2005. She outlasted everyone who called her petty.